Hello and welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. Today we're going to be watching Game 2 of this best of 3 for the Chinese tournament or league that I don't really know a lot about. Yeah, I don't know. So that's what we're watching today, and let's introduce our players. We have Yumiko spawning in as the red human. Down in the lower left, the map is Melting Valley. You haven't seen that one in a while, have you? Well, I haven't. You might have. And he's going to be going up against WE.Xiaokai, who's going to be spawning in as the light blue undead in the upper right corner of the map. And this should be pretty interesting. Of course, last game, if you saw it or you didn't catch it, you can always watch it. It's on the channel too. It was interesting, you know. Yumiko, I'm not gonna go into it because I don't want to have any spoilers. But so it was not a bad game. Some people would be like, I really wouldn't have wanted to watch that, and other people would be like, you know, that was actually really a clever idea what we saw. So I'm kind of glad I saw it, and I'm personally somewhere in between the two, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. What we're gonna be watching is Game 2, and now this is gonna be a great game. So if you haven't seen it, shh, grab some popcorn. Sit down, relax. We're gonna watch it. It's gonna be great. Mountain King first for Yumiko. There we go. A little bit different than the standard. Of course, the map is Melting Valley, so it's not too uncommon to see him, or pretty much a paladin, or really any kind of non-standard hero on this map, because there is such a big distance. Look how long this is. Oh, it's way so long. Now, you can actually be creeping this camp out right here as the human player. And the undead player can get there with a Death Knight if they go with Ted Fiend's build. This is a Ted Fiend's build. They can get there kind of like at the tail end of this being crept out. So that doesn't mean that he will. I don't know if I'm 100% correct on that because it's been a while, but I do recall plenty of times coming in just as being finished crept with the Death Knight. And it doesn't look like that's what we're going to be seeing this time though. But maybe. Of course, I'm not really sure what the Death Knight's doing actually. Oh, he's going for the creeps in the middle of the map. That makes sense. There's a sheep there, you know, a raccoon, whatever it was, I don't know. And he killed it with his acolyte, I would assume. Yeah. Oh, what is this? I haven't seen this in a long time. So Kai is actually, or Kai, I'm sorry, going to throw down an Acropolis, a proxy Acropolis right outside of the expansion location that he's expecting to see Yumiko put up an expansion at. And that's going to be interesting. Of course, the first time I personally saw this kind of strategy being played from an undead player was on Echo Isles. Melting Valley is kind of the similar concept. And of course, on Echo Isles, you know, you can only do it, I think it's down in the lower left, might be lower right, but I think it's the lower left. Yeah, it's actually, no, it's definitely the lower left, where you can build a necropolis, the proxy necropolis, because on the lower right gold mine there's actually water everywhere. There's not enough place to do it, and also, but on the lower left you can do it, and you can even do it out of sight. Now up here this is actually going to be out of sight as well. And this is really clever, in my opinion, really clever. So, of course, you can see Kai, he's sitting here, he's just at his base, he's got a mercenary camp, you know, crept out. He's like, I'm feeling pretty good. He got 2 items from it. That is going to be the Wand of Menace Stealing and a Slippers of really great items right there. Meanwhile, we can actually see Kai going ahead and trying to creep out a green camp just a little bit here. Should be able to pick up a little tiny bit of experience. Keep his eyes on the prize, which is going to be the human army right now, saying, as soon as you move out, I want to know about it. And also, my big question here is, are we going to see attack? Oh, we're going to see attack. Well, I was kind of wondering if we're going to see backpack, but if he's attacking there, we probably won't. Although he could research it over here at this necropolis, or he could just put up a shop there as well. Of course, we're going to see a bolt now on the Death Knight. He's going to go ahead and try to keep himself out of this round using a skeleton. Oh, but he's so very close. Oh, but he's back out of this. No, he's back in this round. What is going on here? And actually, we're going to see that Death Knight going down. Wow. That was a really good dispel from that abolish magic, I'm sorry, from the Forest Troll Shadow Priest right there. It got rid of the skeleton and allowed him to actually go ahead and surround that Death Knight. So a really good move right there from Yumiko without a doubt. And over here, of course, you can see the necropolis, it's up. There's Blight here. And Yumiko is going to scout that Blight. He's going to say, wait, what? Why is there Blight there? That's what it is. It's Blight. Now I can actually see him running his footman up here. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there, what he wants to do. He might go for a reveal. Indeed, he's going to say, what's going on over here? He wants to scout because he knows now there's Blight here. He's like, huh. Is it some kind of tier 1 push? What is this what kind of nonsense is this? And it's just gonna be a necropolis. And actually there was a while where we just saw scout necropolises propping up all over the map. You know, undead players would just say, let's just put up a scout necropolis, sort of like how humans would put up scout farms and such. And I mean, it's kind of a similar concept. It's actually not that expensive of a building. It's 10 food for 255 gold, but you don't have to pay any wood. So your gold rate, I mean, it's a little bit better. It's obviously to make ziggurats there, but it does give you a bunch of light somewhere on the map, and it gives you vision So it's not really that bad of a concept, and I still occasionally make Scout Necropolises because why not? Now, will we see a deny on that Acolyte? No, it's just going to go down. Of course, you can see also if they actually decide to take the time to kill it, it's going to take a while. Now, unfortunately, Yumiko doesn't really have a whole lot of choice. He has to kill it. It's right outside of his expansion. You know, he needs to get rid of that because if there is going to be like a tier 2 wagon push, for example, this is going to be an interesting bit. You know, like this could be a very damaging type of a thing. Of course, we're going to see Kai now. He's going to creep. He's been creeping a little bit. Of course, he will also pick up a Wand of Mana Stealing, which could make for a very interesting sort of exchange between the Mountain King and the Death Knight, where the Mountain King's all like, I'm going to take your mana, and the Death Knight's all like, well, I'm going to take it back, and the Mountain King's all like, well, you son of a bitch, I'm going to take it back myself. And, you know, they play hot swap a couple of times with it. I really don't think a Death Knight or a Mountain King sounds anything like that at all. That was not a very accurate voice. But anyway, of course, that Mountain King is level 3. Of course, you can see over here the Death Knight working on level 3 as well. He is at level 2, so he does need to keep creeping. Of course, you can see that the map isn't quite symmetrical, because if we look at this camp, you can see these are all level 3 camps. If you look actually over the one on the opposite side of the map, we would see that there was one level 3 and then I think it's 2 level 2s. But when I say it's not symmetrical, it's not completely asymmetrical, because you still get the same amount of experience on either side of the map, because here this is just a harder camp with the 3 level 3s, and what happens is you get 2 of those guys to be level 2 instead of level 3 there. Meanwhile, at the bottom side of the map, right here, you have 4 of those little guys being level 3. But of course, we're actually seeing this Mountain King trying to kill this Death Knight. He may be able to manage it, but it doesn't look like he will. He would have had to get like a bolt and then a bash and maybe a second bash to kill it. But you know, either way, of course, Kai did pick up a potion of healing just in case. Gonna go ahead and pop that because why not? It's like the Mountain King may have left me, but you know, I'm forever scarred. I'll go ahead and pop this. Why not? Of course, over you can see Claire. I'm just gonna keep on Claire. Yumiko is just going to go ahead and get these towers up. He's got this expansion run. He's pretty happy. Of course, he is still tier 1. He does have to make towers, and that's a threat that you always have to do, because when you're going Mountain King first, you have to just take a longer tier 1, and you just have to make more towers. And of course, that does mean that the Undead player may very well end up going for a counter expansion if you start getting those towers up, and if they can actually get that up, like if you can't actually suicide into it to stop it, then you know, they can actually take up the advantage big time because they have the tech and the expansion at that point. So, you know, the human player definitely needs to be able to get those cancels on the expansions if he's going to do that. Of course, meanwhile, we're just going to see that Lich is going to back off, just trying to get level 3 on this Death Knight right here. I don't know if he's going to. He's going to be close. Wow, he will. And a Tome of Experience. Now, if you give that Tome of Experience, that's going to be 100 gold or 100 experience to that Lich. That'll be level 2 for the Lich with 2 experience to spare. And let's see. Items. Items, he's not really sitting bad either. He doesn't really have any 2 survivability items, but there you go. He's actually going to go ahead and bring up some Ziggurats right now here. And of course, this Goblin Laboratory could potentially produce some sappers to go ahead and try to do some damage on that. But it looks like right now we're just seeing Yumiko trying to tech up at his expansion. And meanwhile, of course, Kai is just trying to say, well, I want you to fight me, and I want to, you know, do like a big tier 2 push is what it's looking like to me. Probably going to see a lot of fiends and a lot of wagons. Of course, we're actually going to see that the Ogre Lord camp has been pulled, and it's going to cause one of those Ziggurats to get canceled. That's not too great. Of course, we're going to see a shop now going up over here as well for Kai at this little location. Now, if Kai can go ahead and creep this out, he'd be sitting pretty happy. But of course, it's a double-edged sword. Also, the reason we're really seeing this keep getting teched up is because there are going to be sappers right there from that Goblin Laboratory, and it would be a big shame for Yumiko to actually have his expansion taken down by sappers and a little bit of focus fire. So you don't really want that. You want to, you know, make this as tanky as possible, get your masonry upgrades, and of course, tech it up. I mean, gets you more HP, gets you more life or more armor, etc., etc. So it's really, really good, you know, to get the masonry levels. It's just good to tech it. It's not a bad situation at all, and also it gives you the ability to call to arms from that location. So hey. Of course, there is a fight going on right now, and we will see one of those footmen dying, and that's just going to happen occasionally, and that's life. You know, meanwhile, we do have these ghouls coming down here as well. Of course, now Kai saying, I'm really going to dedicate myself to this push. Here come those wagons as well. So this is kind of like this big tower push, wagon push, defended location type of business. I don't know why I just said that word. Deal, whatever it is. Over here we can see that Yumiko is going to go ahead and say, well, I've got some mercenaries up here, and actually I got a mode golem as well. He's like, let me see, can I pull the keep camps from over there to your towers? And no, you've already crept them out. Okay, well, let's have a fight going. This is not going to finally hit tier 2. He will go ahead and call to arms with all of those guys, bring in as many militia as he can, as well as just try to push this off, try to end this push right now. Of course, we're going to see a fiend trying to go for the burrow. It's going to get dusted, as you can see. Another fiend may go down right here. No, it's going to get coiled, so it might not go down. Of course, we're seeing this frost armor trying to be utilized. There's also going to be some really neat slows being cast as well. And there's just so many units right now from Yumiko just doing so much damage in this fight. It's going to be really pain. Of course, we're also going to see that statue probably going down here in just a moment too. And all of these fiends pretty much have died, except for like 2 of them. There's a 3rd fiend right here. It's going to end up being burrowed. They will get dusted, and he's going to get out of that walk away, get coil, of course. And we're actually going to see that Ogre Mauler as his last move, taking out that fiend, and that was essentially a suicidal Marauder, but it did go ahead and work out, or Marauder, Mauler, Ogre Mauler, in fact. And yeah, there you go. A lot of these guys, I mean, this was absolutely an insane amount of militia right here. Those militia would be very, very useful in this fight. And of course, we're going to go ahead and see a mana potion being used on that Mountain King. Maybe going to go ahead and maybe try to surround that Death Knight. In fact, he's going to be able to surround the Death Knight in tower range, no less, which is pretty good. Going to force him to pop a potion of lesser invulnerability, and he's going to have to run away. Of course, he's going to get a nice bash on a ghoul, and that will take that ghoul down too. Of course, there's also this statue here that's only got 30-ish life, so it's very odd that he's keeping it so close to this human army when he may actually go down. As you can see, he's actually going to go ahead and start taking some damage. Going to be repaired by an Acolyte as well. That Acolyte will, however, unfortunately take a Storm Bolt to the face, and it will go down as well. Of course, meanwhile, there is a meat wagon sitting here pounding on this keep at the same time, and down here, let's look. What tier 2 buildings are we seeing being picked up by Yumiko? It looks like 2 Arcane Sanctums. Probably going to be seeing some breakers coming out, because that does generally seem to be the maybe even the de facto way to try to deal with this sort of strategy from the undead player. Of course, you have to have some unit at tier 2 that's durable enough to fight with, and generally that's going to be Spellbreakers. You can see Rifle Caster work as well in this sort of situation, because really the way you deal with Rifle Caster is Destroyers, and of course the undead player doesn't have Destroyers. However, it's not really the easiest thing to do. We're actually going to see a Blood Mage coming out as the 2nd hero for Yumiko, and he's going to stun that Death Knight and actually just sit there and siphon as much mana as possible. Now, going back to the Rifle Caster thing, it's not really as great, because the problem is, you know, you can nuke the crap out of the casters, and you can really fight those casters and kill them, and honestly, you know, you have to get to a certain amount of those units, rifles and casters, before you can actually do something to the undead player to force them to leave and to stop attacking your base. So it has to take a long time to do that. First, we're going to see another bolt on the Lich this time, and again, a siphon mana, just trying to steal as much mana as possible. And of course, what you can do with this sort of idea is you can just keep on giving mana to your Mountain King, and you can keep bolting and stealing mana. It's really a nice little strategy. And of course, now the big contrasting the Rifle Caster to the Spellbreakers, you don't really need a very large Spellbreaker force. You know, you get 4 Spellbreakers out, and you're actually got enough Spellbreakers to start, you know, forcing Kai to, you know, deal with you instead of the keep here. And you're also getting the mana low on the undead heroes, but you're also doing that with siphon mana. But the idea is, you know, if they can't nuke your heroes, they can't nuke your units. That's a lot of their DPS for their army completely gone from the fight. So that's why Spellbreakers are generally considered the de facto choice. But if, you know, if the undead player was like not really applying a lot of pressure, you might see him just go straight for a tier 3 tech. And because honestly, generally tier 3 tech is going to be preferable in this situation to Rifle Caster. But there's really nothing wrong with Rifle Caster. It's just that, you know, tier 3 tech or Spellbreakers are a little bit better. But you can do Rifle Caster if you want to, just for variation or for fun. Try it sometime if you're a human player. I've seen it work. I've made it work myself. I've played it. And I've had it work against me. So there you go. Of course, I mean, obviously the undead player has made mistakes if it works, but hey, that's not the point. I'm just trying to give you all some ideas for variation. Anyway, so in this sort of situation, we're just seeing Yumiko building up his forces here, getting priests, getting breakers. Of course, priests are always really good to have, you know, with your breakers right there. And we're just going to see a couple of those peasants going down while they try to repair this. Of course, there are now 2 wagons out on the field. There's also a slaughterhouse being built here, or I'm saying being built, that it has been built, and another ziggurat. So we're seeing a lot of stuff being put up right here by Kai. Kai basically saying, this is my second base. It's you've built somewhere that I am going to encroach upon and eventually take for my own. So Kai is definitely going to be trying to take this as a gold mine expansion for himself if he can take this out. And that's actually pretty brilliant too. Because if there's a shop already around here, some towers already up, you know, and already got a racks up, why not go ahead and take this? You know, because if you wanted to, you put your gold mine right there, you put it like a necropolis maybe right here or something, you know, a bit of a ziggurat right there, and it's a pretty well defended location all of a sudden, and the human player is going to have a really hard time dealing with that. So not only have you taken your offense, you've turned it into a defense, but you've also gotten an expansion out of it all at the same time. So it's a really clever move from Kai, but only if it works. And if you can't actually go ahead and take these guys down, these peasants down right now, then he is going to actually end up in a pretty big problem. But of course, he can take a fight here with Spellbreakers with all these towers backing him up. Towers, of course, do a pretty good amount of damage to units in general. That's why their towers are pretty useful, and that's also why you're not seeing these guys run in here and trying to kill these towers. Of course, if you did that, then you would see Yumiko saying, oh, well, I'll bring my army as well, and as well as militia. And of course, militia are a concern. But of course, with these spirit towers up in the back, militia aren't nearly as big of a concern. You're probably not even going to see Yumiko putting any kind of aggression past really about this point right here, simply because there are all those towers back there. There is that shot back there, and it's like, I don't really have any real benefit to chasing. At this point for Yumiko, I would say his best bet and his game plan probably is to try to starve Kai out, because Kai is on 1 base versus 2 base. If the game goes long enough, you know, even though he's spending a lot of resources right here repairing this thing right here, he should be able to end up having a big army that can, you know, do something to this. Actually, we're gonna see some mortar teams. Actually, that's a clever idea right there. Mortar teams will do really good, because this is kind of saying, I know you don't really want to aggress into my tower range, and I don't really want to aggress into your tower range, and you've brought siege, I'll bring siege. And mortar teams are probably going to be a little bit of a better choice to mass rather than meat wagons. You don't really want to mass meat wagons. You want to have about 2 meat wagons. That's really your number that you're looking for. Whereas with mortar teams, you can get 5 or 6 of them. It's not a huge deal. Of course, they can be nuked down, so that's an issue, but there are priests here who can heal them back up, so you know, it's whatever. Of course, we're going to see one of these mortar teams. It will go down. Didn't quite get far enough back right there. Of course, we're going to see another stun onto this Death Knight. Going to see a Siphon Mana once again. And it's a little bit interesting. The mortar teams, by themselves, are not going to do too great. It was not a Castle Tech, so there can't be any fragmentation. So we're going to see another mortar team going down to a Coil Nova, as well as a volley from those Fiends. And a Fiend also going to go down to a Bolt and a little bit of damage from this human army. Of course, this is not a very big human army. The human army is actually sitting at 60 out of 66 food. And of course, he's still sitting at tier 2. But he is making more and more mortar teams. And if you get like the 6 mortar teams, then you can probably go ahead and actually do enough damage to force Kai to engage constantly. But we're seeing some nukes, really good nukes, killing these units, just picking off the human units one by one. And that's a great way to play from Kai. And if Kai keeps that up, then he's probably going to be able to actually go ahead and take out this expansion and take it as his own. And should that happen, it's, you know, you're in an interesting situation. But of course, Kai saying, you know what, if you're gonna mass mortar teams, he's like, I don't really need an army, because at that point, I don't have to worry. I don't need an army to fight your army, because you're not gonna really have an army. Your army's gonna be mainly mortar teams. And he's like, so I can afford to go with more meat wagons. And that's adaptability right there. Good play from Kai. Of course, we're gonna see these mortar teams. They're gonna be fairly annoying. And of course, with that Siphon Mana, it's gonna make it very hard for him to actually keep coming in here and trying to nuke down units. Already, that Lich does not have enough mana to go ahead and go into another nuke fest on one of these mortar teams to try to kill it. But he is about to have enough. He needs to get to 125. Of course, he is now sitting at 125. But that Blood Mage is sitting very, very offensively, saying, he's like, I'm just waiting. Of course, now we're going to see, yeah, there it is. 1 Fiend attack, 1 Coil, and 1 Nova. Of course, it's a level 2 Nova and a level 2 Coil. But that takes down one of these mortar teams, no problem. And of course, that's pretty much that. We actually have 4 meat wagons out on the field. And again, 4 meat wagons, if they have 1 attack upgrade, they do need to get 1 more attack upgrade, and they would actually go ahead and start really just destroying this keep, because that keep is 2 levels of masonry and it's 1 level attack. Generally what you want, just in general, to apply a lot of pressure is the same number of attack upgrades as the level of masonry, as well as 3 meat wagons. So if you go to 4 meat wagons, you can go down 1 attack upgrade. It's not as big of a deal. And you can see, though, just with those 4 meat wagons with 1, he's applying more pressure than you can really conveniently heal through or repair through. It's not a very convenient way to do this. It's very, very much towards the line that Yumiko does not want to be towing. And yeah, so anyway, we're going to see now this fight is going to go a little bit underway once again. Of course, we're going to see a very nice frost armor on that Crypt Fiend. Of course, the Bolt trying to hold him in place, let those mortar teams do some damage to him. Yumiko is not looking good, though, honestly, because he is spending so much resources right now with the money, of course, and he's losing units. If he wasn't losing units here, he would actually be sitting pretty good, and he would be able to really starve out Kai like I was talking about earlier. But since he's losing units, he's having them nuked down. That's really hurting him. And we're actually going to see a really nice Bolt and Coil at the same time on that Crypt Fiend that only barely actually ended up keeping that Crypt Fiend in the green HP there. Of course, we still see 4 meat wagons going for the 5th meat wagon. Why not? Of course, again, I still think that it's better in this sort of situation to go for attack upgrades on your meat wagon over more and additional meat wagons, because each meat wagon is 4 food. That's a pretty big commitment, you know? So going up to 5 meat wagons, that is 4 times 5. That's 20 food and siege weapons right there. You know, it's just to kill a building. Of course, again, in this sort of particular situation, it's not nearly as big of a deal because we're seeing Yumiko go with siege weapons as well. But I'm kind of curious at this point why we're not seeing like a tank or something coming out just to try to do some damage, try to split up and harass Kai's army here. Actually, it looks like that's Hold on. Did we just see fragmentation? No, we don't see fragmentation shards. It's just the obsidian statue healing animation. I was like, wait, is that frag shards? I was like, wait, where did he go castle? It's like, he didn't go castle down here. So yeah, he didn't do that. It's not frag shards. But anyway, you know, this is starting to build up a little bit for Yumiko. And once again, we're gonna actually see a, oh, will that priest go down? It might not. No, it's not gonna go down. And will a fiend die? Oh, a fiend's gonna go down as that quill hits, just dying ever so slightly first. And finally, that priest does actually go down. First up here, we can see, here comes the 5th meat wagon. It's about to be out, and still, he does not have the next attack upgrade. I really disagree with that decision, but that's just me. You know, I mean, but he is doing a lot of pressure, as you can see. I mean, he's forcing a ton of repairing, absolute ton of repairing right there going on. And of course, we're gonna see another priest going down. Meat wagons aren't bad versus priests. They're not too great versus breakers. We're actually gonna see another crypt fiend and just gonna burrow and try to live, but there will be a dust and he will be taken down as well. So it's a little bit unfortunate watching my brethren fiends be slaughtered. Ahaha. But anyways, that's 6 meat wagons right there at 1-0. And 6 meat wagons. There's no way that he's going to repair through this. And no, he's not going to. He's actually going to run out of gold to do it. And so, yeah, as you can see, this keep is going to fall right here. No doubts about it. So let's see if we watch that and the fight at the same time. We're seeing over here that there is going to be a Siphon Mana on this Death Knight. But, yeah, that's pretty much that. And the meat wagons, they're about to win this fight against this keep. It's been a very long siege. And now you know why in history sieges lasted months. Because people can just sit there and repair, and the more people you have in a town, the more easy it is to repair. First, we're going to see now that this is getting really close to going down, we're actually going to see Yumiko come and saying, screw it, I got to force those meat wagons away. And actually, those meat wagons are going to back off, and this fight's going to go ahead and happen in tower range for Kai. Of course, we're seeing a lot of militia coming in here. They're going to go ahead and start going ahead and trying to, overwhelm all of the fiends, also overwhelm the meat wagons at the same time, and the mortar teams still trying to do some damage to those meat wagons all around the map. We're just seeing stuff going on everywhere. And a dust is going to happen. Mount King is going to pick up level 5. And there you go. Of course, this is still looking pretty good for Yumiko out of the blue. Completely surprised that Yumiko was actually able to defend that position. He's going to keep that keep from going down. There are only 4 meat wagons alive right now. And one of them very, very low on life. And if it should decide to get a little bit too close, there's a very good chance it's actually going to go down. And there you go. Yumiko just playing a very smart move. Of course, very patient play coming in from Yumiko. And of course, Yumiko now sitting at level 5 on that Mount King may decide it's a good time to go ahead and try to take out this meat wagon. He could probably do so with just, yeah, 2 more hits, I think, right there. And it's going to go down. The breaker turned around and get a little bit of damage as well on it. And so there you have it. These towers, they're there. They're going to help. And they did defend that position pretty well for Kai. But still, it was not quite enough. And now you can see him down to 4 meat wagons. He's got a lot of meat wagons. He really does. But Yumiko back to the repairing game. And of course, Yumiko really low on resources. As you can see, sitting at 70 gold, 90 wood, compared to about 70 gold and 1,000 wood for Kai. And actually, this is it. This might be the death of this keep. Down goes the keep! And if you don't realize what I just realized, let's just talk about it. There's no more gold mines. Everyone's out of gold mines except for this gold mine right here. We can see maybe a little bit of long distance mining, but this is it. This is pretty much it. Of course, you can see Kai. He could take an expansion by unsummoning a couple of buildings because he doesn't have enough money right now to actually put up an expansion, but it could sell an item, unsummon a building, do something like that, any number of things. Of course, he's going to go ahead and try to use these meat wagons to keep on killing damage to these towers. Over here, of course, Yumiko is thinking, what do I do? Of course, he's like, I'm going to find a ghoul and I'm going to bolt it and kill it. And that's what's going to happen there. First, we're going to see a nice reveal. Of course, that is a free reveal right before the Arcane Tower went down. Because as you can see, Magic Century has been researched and you do get free reveals from Arcane Towers. It's a cooldown. It's a fairly long cooldown, but you can do that. And he did... Gonna back off. Maybe he realized that here comes Yumiko, and here comes Yumiko, right down Yumiko lane. Sorry, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, this is a fight. It's gonna go underway. We do see a level 2 Blood Mage, level 5 Mount King that's gonna be going up against a level 4 Death Knight and Lich. Ooh, a Banish Bolt on that Death Knight, gonna bring him down to about 170 life. He's going to be forced to TP out of there, and he's going to try to kill one of these breakers, but he will lose a statue in the meantime, and that's not ideal. Of course, at this point, losing the units is really painful. Of course, you have a Crypt Fiend back there. Now, Banished Bolt is going to be a combo that can do a whole lot of damage to his units, and of course, that's going to be pretty much what it is. Of course, he's also still got these meat wagons taking out the rest of these things, and will he actually be so ballsy to come down here and try to use those on these buildings down here? It's probably not likely, because he could turn into militia and try to kill them. Up here, he's pretty safe because there's towers right there. Over here on this side of the map, we can actually see, okay, so it looks like an acolyte might have gone down. Either way, whatever. So yeah, now Yumiko is sitting here with his army. He's got a level 5 Mount King. I mean, this is going to be interesting to see who wins. Yumiko is trying to get long distance mining. Of course, we're going to have these meat wagons just pretty much sit right here, do some damage, try to kill these guys. If they can't get any kills whatsoever, that'd be great. But the main goal here is to stop him from long distance mining. That's his goal. And if he can do that, then he's not going to get any money. Of course, at the same time, you know, all that Kai has to do is he has to make an acolyte and unsummon some buildings. Does he already have an acolyte? I don't see one on the field. No, there is one right there. He's gonna chase these militia. I'm sorry, these peasants over here. We're actually gonna see them going into militia form, and it looks like, where are they going? Maybe they're gonna go here. We might actually see this being crept out by Yumiko here in just a moment. Of course, Yumiko is gonna creep pretty aggressively. Creeps out this orange camp if he can. Why not? Actually, here come those here come the militia up here to try to do some damage to those meat wagons. Did the workshop go down? The workshop did die, and that's unfortunate. Of course, it looks like we just saw a tome of experience being picked up by Kai. I think that's what we just saw. About to level 5 on both of his heroes. Very, very close. And that'll provide a lot of nuking power, and then he can pretty much try to kill that blood mage. If he kills the blood mage, then Yumiko has pretty much no way of winning. However, with that Mount King and that blood mage alive, it's definitely still possible for Yumiko to be in the game. He could potentially still win the game, and it's going to come down really close. Of course, we see these two fiends; those could both die simply to a banished bolt combo, and there'd really be absolutely nothing that Kai can do about that, because every banish increases your magic damage taken by 66%. And here comes the level 5s for both of these heroes. Of course, Death Knight was already level 5, but this will give level 5 to that Lich as well. And of course, here we can see, of course, he's going to pick up a kind of cruddy item. I think it was a circlet, actually. That's not a bad item. That's a good item. But yeah, so you have 66% increased damage. With that, I think it's 325 damage at level 3 Stormbolt, I think is how much it is. It might be 350. 325 or 350.
A player's force.
Something like that. Here we're going to see these meat wagons. They're going to end up getting taken down, it looks like. Just unfortunate right there. As you see, Yumiko is going to bring in the militia as well as his army and maybe get all 4 of them killed. It would be really unfortunate for Kai to lose all 4 of them. It looks like he's definitely going to lose 2. He might lose a 3rd one. It's going to get bashed, so it also will be taken down almost certainly, but maybe not. It's going to actually get a back away with the reinforcements from the undead army right here. And of course, this is a really scary position for Yumiko, because that blood mage is going to take a lot of damage. Going to be forced to use that pop, that hellstone, and he is still in a bad spot. He can still end up taking down, going down. Of course, there is not enough mana for another coil, but there is enough mana for another bolt, or I'm sorry, Nova, and that's where we're going to see that bolt going off onto the Lich. And there you go. Of course, he is getting fairly close to militia range. So we could see militia being called. Of course, he's also close to that arcane tower. Going to have a little bit of mana burn. Doesn't really want that. Of course, we're also going to see a little bit of mana being burned off that statue as well. And so there you have it. Of course, now with these 2 meat wagons in the back, he's saying, I'm going to apply some pressure to your buildings. Meanwhile, Kai is, I think, just waiting to, yeah, he's going to make another acolyte and start unsummoning some stuff so he can put up an expansion right there, or maybe right here. I don't know quite where he wants to put that expansion up just yet, but it's pretty much what it looks like his goal is going to be. We actually have a sorceress being created at this arcane sanctum. Now, if that gets nuked to death as soon as he spawns, that would be great for Kai. And if it doesn't, that would be great for Yumiko, because a slow essentially is going to allow him to say, oh, I slowed your fiend. It's slow for like 60 seconds. It's going to die. Like, you might be, there's really no chance you're going to keep that alive. I'm just going to rush in and kill it. You don't have a whole lot of mana on your heroes, and I'll just sit there and, you know, I'll siphon their mana, etc. So yeah, of course, we're going to see an Ankh. Oh, there's the Spanish bolt on a fiend. Down it goes, and there is actually an Ankh on the Death Knight, which is pretty good. And I don't know where that item came down here to unsummon some stuff. Why not? Looks like that sorceress did get nuked down. Well, we kind of missed it while I was looking for that acolyte. I'm sorry. But anyway, so here we have it. Some nuking damage going on to that to the Mount King, and you know, there's a priest alive. If that priest was dead, Yumiko would also be in trouble. But here actually come the militia, the cavalry, the quintessential little guys defending their keep, and they're gonna get Nova'd and die horribly. That's why you should not be a militia. I'm telling you, don't do it. Anyway, so we're gonna see, oh, we're gonna see a fiend going for the banished bolt combo. Actually gonna get dark ritualed. Really good play right there from Kai. And that should allow him to go ahead and kill some more of these militia. Taking out the militia would be great. All of these militia could potentially die right here if Kai played a little bit more aggressive. Looks like they're not going to. Meanwhile, Kai is actually going to get this expansion up at the top, or at least he's going to try to. It's on its way up right now. So Yumiko is in a bad way right now. As you can see, he's not looking too good. He doesn't really have any kind of way to regenerate mana other than siphon mana, and the only way he's really got to heal is this priest, who is also pretty low on mana. Meanwhile, we're gonna see Kai up here with 2 statues sitting pretty with an expansion on the way, and there's a goblin laboratory right here. Yeah, and so there you go. Kai looks like he's taking the lead. I think Kai should have no problems winning this game at this point. Really, there should be no reason at all for him to lose this game. I mean, what's left? There's 3 low HP peasants here. They're not going to do anything. And there is this force. It's sizable given the context of the game. It's a level 5 Mount King and a level 3 Blood Mage, 3 Breakers, and a Priest. So in some senses, it's not bad. But ultimately, it's not what he wants. And of course, he's going to have to do something. He's trying to creep right now, but there's still meat wagons wheeling down on his base. Well, I see wagons. There is a meat wagon wheeling down on his base, as well as his undead army. So, I don't know. He's creeping for items and gold right now. What item will he get? What item could possibly be so important that he decided to come over here and pick it up instead of trying to defend his base? A Claws of Attack +6. Not really not the item that he was probably hoping for. I'm not sure what item he would be hoping for, but also gonna get a Mantle of Intelligence +3. That's not terrible. I mean, of course, as you can see, I think he probably siphoned some mana off those creeps too, and that's probably not so bad. It's probably a good idea. Now Kai is got 3 acolytes up here at this gold mine. He is getting this gold mine up. It's pretty much running at this point, and yeah, that's pretty good for him. Of course, you can see him trying to get the statue out of here. I'm not sure what he was doing. Maybe just trying to be a scouting, little bit of a scout with it. Maybe. Of course, we're gonna see this meat wagon. It's gonna die. There's no saving that meat wagon. There's no cavalry to rescue it, and that's what happens to undead units that undead players are sick of. We throw them away, and they die, and that's life. If you're undead, join our ranks. We're great people. Anyway, so this statue also gonna go down, gonna get blocked by that Mount King, gonna get bashed, and he will die. So now Kai is just kind of throwing units away, but
a player's forces are under attack.
I'm not really sure what his point is there. He's just scouting about. For what real purpose? Again, I don't know. And of course, Yumiko's still creeping, getting that gold. And of course getting items. So what items does he have? He's got 2 Claws of Attack. I mean, I guess that's actually going to end up being pretty sizable. Plus 12 damage. That's pretty good. Oh, here you go. Bolt on the Lich, as well as a Siphon Mana. Just trying to take all of the mana from the undead player and give it to the human player. And yeah, I mean, we're going to see a coil. Now, this Lich is actually in a bit of trouble here. If he gets banished bolted, he could potentially go down. He will keep getting. He's gonna keep coiling him, the Lich, and saying, "Come on, don't die, Lich." And the statue gonna get bashed. The statue also gonna go down. Of course, we do have this up here running. He's building some ziggurats here. He wants to put up some towers. He needs some towers. He needs something. And will the statue actually go down? It might not. Wow, the statue's actually gonna get away at 26 life. We're gonna see some nice nukes trying to force the human army back. Very, very carefully. Of course, we have another priest down here. The priest is a really important part of Yumiko's army at this point. He does not want to lose that priest. It's very important. Now we're just going to see him trying to do some damage with the 2 heroes here. Why not? Why not? And of course, that's the question that's always askable. Maybe it would be worth it to make a peasant in long distance mine from here or here. I doubt it, though. I really doubt it at this point. If that was really something that Yumiko thought would be feasible, he probably wouldn't have suicided all of his militia. So I don't think that's what he's going to be doing. I don't know what else he wants to do with the gold he has right now, though. He can't really make anything. Oh, well, he actually has 2 peasants on. I guess he can make another peasant. 3 guys, long distance mining. Maybe from right here wouldn't be the worst. He can end up getting like 5. Or maybe just mine until he can get enough gold to put up an expansion. Actually, he's got a 4th militia right here, so that's he's scouting about with it. Spellbreaker's on his way up here to scout. It's gonna be a little bit late because there is a Spirit Tower and a Nerubian Tower, so it looks like Yumiko putting up a great effort this game. Probably still gonna lose, though, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. Of course, we're gonna see 2 Nerubian Towers and a Spirit Tower. Why not go with the double Nerubian Tower? Now, I say he's probably gonna lose. It doesn't mean he will. if he can take out that expansion and, you know, win the fight for the expansion, he'd win the game. So, you know, that expansion has not kicked in yet, and he's putting a lot of resources into actually going ahead and defending it. But if all of that defense pays off, then he's in good shape. Of course, actually, he's also going to get a Goblin Shredder. And it looks like maybe these peasants were going to try to go do a little bit long distance fighting. Not going to happen with a Shredder down here patrolling the area. So meanwhile, here comes the cavalry for human player Yumiko. And this is pretty much all he's got. He's just gonna be able to, but he can go ahead and he can just keep killing these acolytes. He doesn't even have to. He doesn't have to take out the towers or anything. He just has to kill those acolytes. If there's no acolytes there, camp outside of this. That could end up being a pain for Kai, force Kai to actually fight. But then again, Kai could just come down here and try to do some damage down there. Who knows? Of course, we're actually going to see a Goblin Zeppelin. Now, that's pretty good, too, for Kai right here. Trying to ensure that he doesn't lose any more mana from these guys. Try to ensure he doesn't lose a hero. Try to ensure he doesn't get banished bolted. And that seems to be his idea right here. Of course, just keep nuking the Blood Mage. That Blood Mage now getting fairly close to dying. If we see the Archmage, I'm sorry, if we see the Lich and the Death Knight now popping out, they could potentially end up killing him. Now, you can put both those guys in the Zeppelin, walk over there, and unload right on top of that Blood Mage and get another pretty good coil. Of course, we're going to see going to I'm not sure if he was trying to dodge that with the Zeppelin. Didn't quite work out the way he wanted it to. And there's another acolyte up there. So this is starting to look pretty unfortunate for Yumiko. Now with that Zeppelin out, I would say that there's really no chance for Yumiko to win. So a really good pickup for the Zeppelin. There's really no way he can take that fight. But without that Zeppelin, he still had a chance if he just could have got banished bolts on that Lich. Because if the Lich went down, the Death Knight would have been, there would have been nothing that Kai could have done. So this was a pretty close game, even though some people would consider this dragged out. I mean, I'm calling GG a little bit prematurely here, but you know, it doesn't look good at all. As you can see, yeah, there's not a lot Yumiko can do to really deal with this army because of the Zeppelin. You can't really kill the Zeppelin because, you know, it's just going to get microed away. There's only the Blood Mage that can attack it. The Priest just died. You can come over here. You can keep bolting the Acolytes, which is what I thought he was going to do. I don't know why he ran out. I just thought he would sit there and bolt Acolytes all day. Because, you know, as long as he was being let to do that. But here we go. Here comes that fight. Seeing a lot of damage being done to the Blood Mage, and GG is going to be called by Yumiko. So well played by both players. Kind of a long game. So like I said, a little bit dragged out for some people's taste. Again, I thought it was really close. I thought it was really intense. But again, everyone has their own opinion about it. So if you didn't enjoy it as much as you would have or would like to have enjoyed the ending, I'm sorry. But you know, the early and the mid game hopefully were thoroughly entertaining to everyone. So there you go. That's my best of 3 series for the day. And maybe we'll. I have no more words. I'm completely out of words. I'm about to go to class. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.